Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Sorry it's been a few days since I've posted a video, but it has been busy with work and streaming and all the good stuff. But tonight I had an opportunity to sit in the man cave and go through my memory box of random ass toys. Now some of them are newer toys, some of them are older, kind of just depends. Do you guys have that one collection box in your home that just has a bunch of the toys you used to own? You probably pulled it out of your mom's basement or wherever, I don't know. That's where I got mine, so no judgment. But today I'm going to go through that with you guys and see what's in there. Take a trip down memory lane. If you like this video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe for me, and let's get into it. So easily one of my favorite parts of going through any mystery box in my house is what I'm going to find. It's probably been at least a year since I've gone through this specific toy box. Now, last year, I didn't even really look at everything in here. I just put most of the kind of miscellaneous, random, old school, some retro toys that were just kicking around in here so I wouldn't lose track of them. And literally right off the bat, it doesn't disappoint. This old school Bartman on card is awesome. I wanted to start collecting these, and the Bartman was the first one that I ever picked up. And I purposely left him on the card, unlike what I do with most of my other toys, to be honest. And I never got down the line. I think I ended up entering college and then just didn't have the capacity to collect at that point. And it is what it is. What's next in here? Ooh, this thing is pretty cool. This is the Vorcha class Starship from the Klingon Empire. Now, this is actually not my favorite Klingon ship. I would say that the Bird of Prey is definitely my favorite, but this is still pretty cool. The buttons still work on this bad boy. It lights it up. It makes some torpedo sounds and some phaser sounds. Very, very cool. I like that. It's amazing that the batteries still work in it after all of these years. This thing is probably, I want to say, 20 years old, 25 years old, at least. Now this guy definitely takes me back. This is the Peter Pan figure I used to carry around everywhere, and you guys can tell the paint apps are pretty worn. I brought this guy everywhere I went. I used to love the Robin Williams movie Hook, and it just inspired my love for the character. So he definitely made it into the memory box. Very cool that I still have this guy in my collection. Even though he's not like crazy posable or all that fun to play with, to be honest. I mean, it's amazing what your favorite toys as a kid actually end up being when you look back. It's just that nostalgia factor. Now this next one is definitely special. It's my Jeff Goldblum from the original Jurassic Park movie. Now, same as that Peter Pan, his paint apps are definitely worn. You can tell up close. I should honestly send him to my buddy Zach and see if he'll touch him up for me. Maybe attempt it myself, but it's still pretty cool. And it looks like Jeff Goldblum, so gotta give it some credit. Now this guy, while I don't love the figure himself all that much, it does have some nostalgic value. This is by far one of the, I think, last toys my mom just randomly bought me at Christmas time. She got my brother a bunch of Star Trek figures, so she had to get me a couple, and I got this guy. So that's nostalgic. But the Power Ranger, for sure, is a treat. You guys remember these ones, right? It's got the flip head action. Very, very cool. And the paint apps on it still look pretty good. You can see that the white has yellowed pretty bad, and I did have to glue the boot together, but the head flip action still works. So that's a win. Next up, we got this badass Donatello. Now, this guy, he's missing his kind of the braid from his bandana at the front, or I should say at the back. But I love the texture on this guy. He's kind of got a rubbery skin material. I remember thinking as a kid this felt like a massive step up in terms of kind of turtle technology in figures. He felt like what I would envision the Ninja Turtle from the film to feel like, if that makes sense. I loved it, and I played with this guy like crazy. I'm so happy I still have him in my collection. Now this next one ages me a little bit. This is from the television show Beetleborgs back in the day. And again, I played with this guy like crazy. The fact that he's even still intact actually kind of blows my mind, I'm not gonna lie. Same thing with some of the other figures. You can see that the white parts have definitely yellowed, but the paint application on this guy is awesome. It still collects the light really nicely. The guy was super poseable. I freaking loved this. And I had the blue one and I had the other one, which I don't remember the color now. Now I have to look it up. But this is the only one that survived, and green was always my favorite color. Now this one's a bit of a unique one as well. I actually got this given to me as a gift about a year ago from my fiance's stepmom. And it's kind of cool. It did come with a base, but I liked the way that it looked, honestly, without the base. It's been in my collection storage for a period of time now that I haven't had a chance to really display it, but you can see that I had the blue tack on there. She was previously displayed here in my bathroom anyways, so that was pretty cool. Great little gift. And once again, getting into me being old, this guy, this Power Ranger, brings me way back. They used to package this guy in like a diamond shaped box, which was pretty cool. And this was one of the largest action figures I was ever gifted as a kid. I had this one, I had the blue one, I had the yellow one. I think I ended up having Jason the Red Ranger at one point as well. And I loved these guys. They slowly broke over time, but the black one was able to stay intact. I still have the gun on the side of the belt there. I'll pull that out in just a second. These guys were wickedly poseable for back in the day. And I honestly attribute this figure and that memory of Christmas when I got this guy in the Blue Ranger as one of the biggest contributors to why I now collect 6 scale. I know this guy's not specifically 6 scale. I do have the 3-0 Green Ranger in 6 scale now, and it looks amazingly detailed even in comparison to this. But damn, do I still love these old guys. And again, the gun, like, I mean, look at it, it's just regular plastic mold. There's nothing too crazy special about it, but it's the nostalgia of it. And I absolutely love it. I'm so happy I still have it. What else is in this box? Beetlejuice is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. And I saw this guy at my recent store tour, Snap Collectibles, in the display case. And I was pretty sure I still had him. And I did. I was so happy about it. Check this out. His head pops off and he's got the small head underneath. Amazing. How does that not make you just happy to look at? I have no clue where I'm going to put this in my display. But at some point, I will find a figure display appropriate for Beetlejuice and his little snake head here. Very, very cool. This next one has a really unique, quick story. My stepdad sent this to me in the mail about 6 months ago. I lost this figure 25 years ago in the grass. My dad was cutting the lawn and he sees this thing laying face down and pulls it out of the grass, kind of buried under some dirt, right beside where my old swing set used to be. And it was still fully intact. Paint applications, totally good. I don't know what they painted that shit with, but it must have been some kind of weird lacquer, because that is very impressive for 25 years. Now, this guy was also in the memory box. I don't remember this figure. I wonder if this was my brother's, to be honest. But I gotta say, it kind of resembles a young Tim Roth, which is kind of awesome. So I like it, and he's gonna stay in the memory box. I'm cool with that. I wonder if it's G.I. Joe or if it's from the 2008 Hulk movie, for all I know. You tell me, if you guys know where that figure's from, let me know in the chat. This guy, just a random alien dude, ruling the planet. Don't have much of a story for him other than he's just been able to stay in my life for 30 years. It's crazy. What else do we got in here? Ooh, this is a fun one. Check this out. Now I'm gonna have to zoom my camera out here, so bear with me for some shakiness. I love this guy. This was one of my original G.I. Joes. You can see I clearly played with him like crazy, but his paint apps held up pretty well considering. And again, talking about my love for 6 scale and some of the reasons that as an adult I've wanted to get into 6 scale, these guys were the reasons why. I mean, they had these old school plastic bodies. You can see nothing too crazy special. The tailoring, not that special. And this guy, for some reason, has 2 different boots on. So clearly I fucked up somewhere there. But at the same time, still kind of cool. Clearly had a different G.I. Joe at some point. His knees like kind of click when they bend. So he's got a little bit of posability. Can't hold very much. I think my favorite part about this figure specifically is that blue hood. I think that's very, very cool. Let's see if I can get a better angle for you guys. That's a bit better anyways. Who of you guys had this G.I. Joe specifically? Do you remember what boots he came with? I don't remember. I'm going to have to try and look it up. What other characters from the G.I. Joe line did you have that were in this scale? Very, very, very cool. I am definitely going to find a way to incorporate this guy into my 6 scale setup. I think it's a must. Ooh, he's very flexible at the waist. He's quite old. He may require a figure-based stand. But again, just the way that this rubber has held up over time, you'll love to see it. I'm so happy I found this guy and I've been able to pull him back out of my memory box. Next up, we have this badass old school Stormtrooper. Now, I actually really like the weathering on this guy, and I apologize, this may not be specifically Stormtrooper. I don't get all my troopers mixed up a little bit sometimes, so my Star Wars fans and friends out there, help me out. Exactly what trooper is this? I think this is from one of the original Kenner lines. I don't remember specifically. He's just been in my collection now for probably 10 or 15 years. It was given to me as a gift from a friend. But this next one stands out specifically because these are the Ninja Turtles I was talking about when I looked at that turtle earlier that I said had almost like a next generation skin type. These guys were still cool. These are kind of the iconic classic collection, and I had freaking all of them at the time. It's too bad that I don't have them still, but that's what garage sales are for back in the day, right? It's just devastating now as a collector being an adult. This is kind of a cool story. I got this on my deluxe Dark Knight box set when I first had a chance to buy the Dark Knight film when it came out back in 2008. They released this as a special exclusive edition option. And it came on top of like a figure base with the movie in behind. I ended up popping it off later and using it for a figure, but still pretty cool that I got that one. Now again, earlier I mentioned my mom got me those Star Trek figures. This was one of them. This is clearly Sulu from the Kelvin universe, or Kelvin timeline, the J.J. Abrams films, but still pretty cool. And the actor is technically Kumar from Harold and Kumar, so gotta love that. Now, as some of you guys do know, I've been hunting for Batman the Animated Series toys, and this Man-Bat is from early 90s, when that show was out. I should say late 90s, technically, but still, very old toy. His mechanism still works. It brings his wings back and his head. It's kind of funny. It's a really ugly mechanism, but I mean, who looks at the figure from behind anyways? I need to tighten up the joints a little bit so he holds his arms up a little bit better. But honestly, for how much I played with this figure and how much he's kind of been tossed around my box for a few years, that sounds dirty, he held up really well. And he's definitely going to get added in with my other Batman the Animated Series figures, 100%. Now, I'm also a huge fan of Venom, as well as Deadpool, so I did need this bobblehead in my collection. I got him, I think, probably about 10 years ago now. It's been quite a long time, maybe not even that long, but I got him, I committed to it, I purchased it, I got it home, and then I didn't really like the look of it all that much, so he ended up staying in a box. Now this Data from the Next Generation Playmates line, is beaten pretty badly. I played with this guy like crazy. In fact, I ended up picking up a second one years later. Now you can see that the one on the left has held up a lot better than the one on the right. He even still has the holster on the belt for his tricorder. All the panels are still on the original guy, which is impressive because on the newer guy, he's actually missing the panel on his wrist. But is what it is. I think it's kind of cool to see just how weathering plays a part in some of these older school toys. Even the coloration looks like ever so slightly different, as though it's almost a different dye lot, which is kind of interesting. Now this next one is also really special. I've had this guy on card for years. I loved this line when I was a kid. I know that maybe that's showing my age a little bit, but I remember when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, I was so freaking excited for a new Star Wars movie. And they came out with all of these toys. I had the Comtech system that you could put the chip in and you could hear the Darth Maul voice. I had all the different figures. I just went back and ended up collecting this one to keep it on card, keep it fresh in the box for years to come. And he's held up pretty well considering it's just been kind of stored in cardboard. I honestly need to get him up on the wall. Now there's still a couple more gems in there, including this guy. I love this bobblehead. Again, I'm a huge Venom fan, and I'm a huge Hulk fan. My favorite color is green, so this guy pops on the shelf. No pun intended. And I love it. I think it's awesome. It's a really, really well done pop. It's not that old, to be honest. It ended up in my memory box, but I think I only got it a handful of years ago, 3 to 5 years ago anyways. Same with this Wharf. I love this Wharf. Wharf is one of my favorite characters from Star Trek The Next Generation, as well as Deep Space Nine. And I think they did the pop really, really well. I gotta say, I like it. And lastly, in terms of pops, but that's not actually a pop, is this Christmas decoration I was gifted years ago by my buddy Jeff. Again, intended for the Christmas tree, but I took the hook out the top, and he's kind of become essentially a Funko Pop in my collection, even though that's not technically what he is. Oh, and I apologize, I forgot that I had this guy in here, which is of course my laying down bobblehead Deadpool. Clearly I have a weird bobblehead thing going. You ever realize that suddenly you have more of a certain collection type than you realize you had? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for that. Now, again, back to some Playmates Star Trek figures. Here's my Commander Wharf. I can't remember the episode that this is in, but this is when he's needing to prove himself as a Klingon with the help of Picard. And he has to go down to the Klingon homeworld and go through some trials. And we get a chance to see him in some pretty badass armor. And I think an Easter egg for that specific armor, and I could be wrong, but I do believe it's the same armor that Christopher Lloyd's character wore in Search for Spock. Now this character, his name is Gauran. Gauran was always one of my favorite characters in Star Trek The Next Generation in terms of Klingon bad guys. He was just a weird looking dude, and in terms of a Klingon anyways. He had really funky, twisted eyes, to be truthful. And I don't know, I just like the character, so I'm happy I have him in my Playmates form. What else is in here? This guy's cool. So, again, Lieutenant Commander Wharf in his more iconic costume. I can't wait until Exo-6 makes this character. I hope they do it well. Crossed fingers. Crossed fingers, Exo-6, you got this. I need a 6-scale Wharf. Clearly there's a Wharf trend in my house. And last but not least, of course, we have Captain Picard in his, I don't know, tea drinking vest? Maybe? Hard to say. Either way, make it so. Captain Picard, he's a little bit in rough shape, but I'm willing to let him pass because he's a badass. And I said last but not least for Picard, but clearly I still had a hue in the box. And he still looks pretty good. His hosing is obviously a little broken, but I like the green paint application for his like eyepiece there. I think that's pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. It was kind of cool, like going back through the box, seeing everything that's been kind of just in storage since I moved in. It's amazing the stuff that I now want to start kind of incorporating back into my collection room. The Stormtrooper that I showed you, he's down beside my Hot Toys Stormtrooper now. He might not stay there, but it kind of looks like baby Stormtrooper, so I'm kind of enjoying it. My Man-Bat from the Batman the Animated Series figure, he's up on the shelf with the Animated Series collection. Might not be exactly from the same line, but he honestly looks pretty freaking cool, so I'm stoked about it. So anyways, if you guys like this video, leave me some comments down below. I always love hearing from you. If you liked it, always hit the like button for me. It's appreciated. Smash the subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next toy video? Whatever. Video? Ben Thomas Show. I'll catch you on the next one.